about them at lunch. Yeah. It'll be okay. As long as they're not around, it'll be okay to talk about it. That's good. Wolves are instinctually and on purpose pitchy. It's called dissonance. So you notice those three wolves. How many wolves did those three wolves actually sound like? The answer is unknown because of the intentional dissonance. So three wolves can sound like 5, 50, 100, 12. Doesn't really matter. Instinctually, it's built that way so that no one really knows what's coming. No one really knows about how big the enemy is that's coming at them. And it instills some fear. It also instills some positive things, and we'll try to catch up to that a little bit. But can you imagine if they tried to harmonize and they had the one voice? I mean, who gets scared of just one little wolf? Not many people. What? Oh, you do? It's okay. We'll try to get there. It's not the only way they communicate, though. Just like you. Did you know that you speak, on average, now this is an average between men and women. We know that women speak more than men. And that's not a bad thing. What are y'all? Okay, how many of you all decided that your wives are not always right? Who put your hand? Y'all decided that? Why do you have you're the wife? The only woman in the room that put her hand up, like, no other women in here decided that they were never wrong? That's what I mean. You are wrong sometimes. So you got your husband's fooled. That's okay. That's good. Oh, you're just never going to admit it. I understand that. Anyway, the average, y'all know how many words you average speak between men and women together in one day? 5,000 average words in a day. Now, women notoriously speak more than men, so the average, so men are around 3,500 to 4,000. Women are actually around 7,000. But on average, 5,000. Now, here's what's interesting about that. Studies show that that's only 7% of your daily communication. 7. 5,000 words is 7% of your 100% communication. The rest of it is body language, facial expression. Does anyone have a spouse who does not have to open their mouth and yet can communicate 100% to you what they... Enough said, right? Literally, enough said. Yeah. Whatever it is. So we got facial expressions, we got body language, we got the actual words, we got so many other things, right? I mean, some people are really creative in the way they speak, right? Texting doesn't count in that, so texting is part of the 93%. Comment posting on Facebook, that's all part of the 93%. This is a current study. Typing, so... Oh, touching, touch, touching. Is it hot in here? 93%, that's crazy. Tone of a word. We have a saying around our house. It's not what you say sometimes, it's how you say it, right? Absolutely. Anybody got a problem with that? We're going to try to admit some things today if you're not aware yet. The way we communicate is as important in reference to that verse as it is just the words. I believe the translation could be adjusted just a little bit and just be the way we communicate defiles us. So we have to wrap everything together. We have to, in our culture, be able to say, in every form that we communicate, we are defiled by that. That's the thing that messes us up. Okay? So to get there, we have to realize that there's also incredible power in that. We have to understand that our words and the way that we communicate, or our communication, is weighty. Words are weighty. Say that together. Words are weighty. All right? Understanding that we're talking about words, we're actually talking about all communication from here on out. So our words are weighty. Our way we communicate are weighty. And weighty so much, in fact, that they ought to become weighty to you. You shouldn't just let go of words without understanding how weighty they can be. You shouldn't communicate without first checking the weight of what you're gonna say. Think about it this way. Anybody back at Christmas, did y'all go to any white elephant parties? Right, so that's where you get to go and you choose a gift before you unwrap it. Which gifts do you typically go for? The big ones, right? Or you feel them, and if you're just like, got some weight to it. Right, you ever said that? You pick one up and you're like, ooh, that's got some weight to it. That means that's valuable. And you open it up and there's a brick in it. Right? Like a gift card to Subway and a brick. I mean, the value's still there, but not quite what you thought it was going to be. Can we start to think of our words or our communication before we give it to somebody that they're a gift with some weight to them? That they're going to receive your communication and they're going to look at it and they're going to go, for me? You want me to open it now? With a little bit of excitement? With a little bit of, you picked this out just for me? You want me to have this gift? You think of me so well that this gift that feels weighty is just for me? What if you started to think about your communication that way? What if you started to think that you wanted the person to feel that as you handed them their gift of communication? Their gift of your words. Their gift of what you say about them, to them, for them. What if it became so weighty in your mind that you literally checked all 5,000 words and the other 93% of the communication method you use? Number one, I think it'd slow down a little bit. Wouldn't it? Number two, I think you would really start to look inward more. And if you were in Sunday school, we're trying to teach, that is what this thing is more about, is that we look inward before we deal outward. We start to worry about the defiling that's happening within, or the problems, the struggles that are within, before we deal with anything on the outside. And when we do that, the high percentages become all inner. And there's just a small amount of outside stuff that happens. Check this out. Matthew 12:36. I think this is the New Living Translation version of it. Says, and Jesus is saying, I tell you this, and this one's going to, it might burn a little. You must give an account on Judgment Day for every idle word you speak. Now, I've read that verse many times, right? I don't really believe it. I mean, based on my actions, based on my communication with the planet and with you and with my spouse and with my kids, I really don't believe it. Every idle word. Now, I wanted to get really, really good with this verse and try to find a way that I could discount all of my other stuff and figure out just what my idle words were. Right? What I found out was idle's just as ambiguous as defiled is. Idle. Anything, technically, that does not build up, that doesn't edify, is not positive. Let's just say it that way. Any communication that's not positive. Wow. That's fine. I can work on being positive. But it's that you must give an account for every single word that's not positive. Now, I really don't believe that. I mean, come on. There's just not enough time when we get to heaven, right? If I'm thinking about the entire population of the planet from beginning to end, there's no way that God's going to go through every single word. I mean, he's just going to let most of it slide because that's how gracious God is. But it's printed there. It's given to us. So I have to put pictures in my head about how that's going to go. And he's going to bring me up. I don't know if he does this all at once and it's an internal. I don't care, but it's there. And he's going to pop up. Maybe he's going to pop up a screen like this. And he's going to give me a table that maybe looks like that. He might give me popcorn or Bean Boozled. I don't know. And he's going to go, why on February 22nd, 2019, did you say this? Right? And I'm going to go, well, she was being mean to me. It's a phrase my son and his new wife say all the time. And I'm going to blame, now that we've been married this long, I'm going to blame her. That's what Adam would have done. How many of y'all are with me? The only reason most of us communicate bad things is because of somebody else's stupidity. Amen. Thank you. Exactly right. I am going to let God know just how wrong she was on that day. Right? So I don't know what he's going to say about that, But then he's going to pull up my Facebook post for another day. He's going to go, why'd you say this? You see, he's not punishing me. I don't know what this looks like. I don't know why, but I have to picture that that's what he's going to do in some manner, some form, and there's going to be something about it. Many people teach that this is a one-for-one reward thing. For every bad, there's no reward. For every good, there's going to be a reward. I don't know. I don't really care about that. My problem is that he's going to ask at all. That should be enough. I don't care what the outcome is. It's just the fact that he's going to ask. What about this? He'll have access to your phone records. What about this text you sent back in 1998? One of the first texts ever sent. You thought you would take this amazing form of technology and say, that. Why? And then, because of the high technology of heaven, he will say, I want to listen to this phone conversation you had January of 2001. Just, let's play it. And he would play it, and then he would say, why'd you say that? And I'm going to sit there as he replays my life, word by word. And then he'll pull up a video. You see there where she turned her back and you made that face, and he'll pause. I kid not. Why'd you make that face? What were you conveying to the back of her head that moment? Right? Y'all done that, right? Don't. You can laugh at me all you want, but you look like a clown if somebody were to video the entire process. I got one more. He'll show a video of you standing at the sink. And even though you're just mumbling, he will go, why'd you say that? And you will go, I didn't say anything. And he'll go, oh, really? I happen to have a recording of your thought. And you will say, this sucks. Now, that's how weighty I think that verse makes our words and our communication. See, we can run around all day long and apologize, but you can't get them back, right? We've done little toothpaste. You've seen that. You squeeze the toothpaste out, and you're like, Sherry Ann did this with kids when we first started here. And she stood up here, and she was like, now, we're going to put the toothpaste back in the tube. Can't do that. That's like your words, and that's true. It's a great lesson. I didn't learn anything from it. I mean, if words are toothpaste tubes to me, I am laying them on the ground and I'm going, yeah! It's God's little reminder, you're blind. Is that going to change anything for you? I mean, is it even going to matter to you? I mean, not the fact that God's listening. I mean, I hate that. God's listening. Dude, God's recording. God's documenting. All of our data warehouse people could learn a lot from this guy. He don't lose nothing. I literally think I'll be sitting there with him going, oh, please don't bring that one up. Maybe he didn't catch that one. It'll be next. Because he'll say, why don't you want to bring that one up? Right? What if you start having these conversations with God and yourself before you had them with anybody else? What if you believe the stuff that you are going to hand out should be looked at as a gift, and instead of handing out crap wrapped up in a pretty bow, you didn't. You just didn't. And you ensured what was in the gift is what you intended to give. And you only gave good gifts. And you didn't just throw stuff out there. What if? I'll tell you what if. This week's going to be hard. Eugene Patterson, he wrote the Message Bible, or he helped develop the Message Bible. He's dead now. But the verse that he put, or the translation he put for the verse that we just read says this. Check this out. Every one of these careless words is going to come back to haunt you. There will be a time of reckoning. Words are powerful. Take them seriously. Communication's powerful. Take it seriously. Has anyone ever sat and thought about something that was said to you in the past? Well, then just hold on to that. That's gnarly, because God gave us something powerful and He wants you to use it for good and not for evil. A way to communicate with one another. My whole sermon in a sentence, if you don't mind. Jesus is the Lord of your life, then He ought to be the Lord of your lips. Wednesday we sort of talked about, being in your heart, and what comes out of your mouth is actually what's in your heart. And that's true, and you missed Wednesday, you can go back and look at that study. But today we're really focusing on that communication process. The fact of the matter of the things we say to people on the planet. Now, so take just a moment and think about last week's Facebook posts. How many of you all have gotten smarter and you just don't comment? Y'all lying. 5 people out of 300 are commenting. Everybody else, no, I'm not commenting at all. Yeah, we are. How many of y'all comment in your head? See, that's okay, right? Not if God's recording. Well, why'd you think that? Why'd you think so bad of them right then? What caused you to do that? See, I think it's like this conversation we're going to have. Like I said, it's not going to be a pointing finger thing. It's just going to be a conversation. Anybody ever had a conversation you didn't want to have? Right? You're like, oh, God, I got to go have this conversation. I'm literally trying now to think about that conversation with God and not have to have so many. Not to have so many pop up on the screen. Not to have so many just engulf the conversation we're going to have and have to look at his face and go, I don't know. She said that phrase to me once before. I'm going to say once. It's probably a lot more. Why would you say that to me? Right? Why would you say that? Do y'all know what the answer to that question is? Nothing. Don't say anything. Because there isn't a good answer. Because the communication back is, it was hurtful. You say you loved me, and then you said this to me. My mind is having trouble meshing the two things together. All that in, why would you say that to me? That's how I think we're supposed to be thinking about God. You say you love me. You say that what I did for you is this amazing gift of life, and why would you say that? How many of y'all believe that disappointment is a worse emotion, or a worser emotion, I don't know what the word is, than anger? Right? I agree. That's me. I would rather not disappoint. I would rather make you mad than to disappoint you. Right? Sometimes they go together, but when disappointment is prevailed, and that's kind of maybe that's how we're supposed to do it. I don't want to disappoint. Right? If I understand how much he loves me and I understand how much I'm supposed to love him, then I don't want to disappoint. You should realize they're weighty. You should realize that they impact other people. The things that you say, number one, impact other people. You set that aside. We just said that people have said things to you. And you remember those. They impact you. They hold on to you. And if you can just use that to understand the stuff that you're saying is doing the same thing to somebody else. And they remember. Just like you remember. Does that really matter? I think today we will say, of course it matters. Right? Just nod if it matters. Don't even have to raise your hand. Yeah, it matters. Now, on Tuesday, you will actually live whether you believe this or not. You will say to the world, or you will say to those you love around you, that this matters. The things that I'm going to say to you right now matters because I'm understanding that it's going to affect you. That's the whole purpose in communicating with people, because you want to affect them. Affect. A-F-F-E-C-T. Sometimes you want change out of them. Sometimes you just want to convey your opinion to them. Sometimes you have some weird little outcome built into your head based on what you're going to communicate. And then when that doesn't work, you reiterate it with some other forms of communication until such time that you hit the brick wall and realize that was all a waste of time. Until you remember that it's all recorded in the history of the mind of the person you did that to, and to the mind of the God that you say you love the most. Then all of a sudden, it wasn't a waste of time. It was just a bad use of time. Can we start to understand that using our communication never wastes time? It impacts others. Second thing it does is it impacts the future. Oh, wait a minute. I've got to give you one more. I've got to give you another verse. Ephesians 4:29 before we go on. There's a bunch of verses we could have used, but 4:29 says, watch the way you talk. Let nothing foul or dirty come out of your mouth. Say only what helps. Each word's a gift. That's where I got my gift analogy. Proverbs 18:20. Oh, wait a minute, a gift. Y'all know those gifts? Anybody ever watched movies where there's this gift that people give in a brown bag and you light it on fire and leave it on their front porch? Not the gift you want to give with your words. Okay? That's the opposite gift that you want to get. Okay, just leave that in your mind. Proverbs 18:21. Words kill. I didn't give you that one? Oh, you didn't do that one. Y'all can say, where's Nally? Words kill. Oh, I just gave you the wrong phrase. Words kill. Words give life. They're either poison or fruit. You choose. Huh? Huh? Every word goes one direction or another. That's it. Every form goes one way or another. Every deliverance of communication, one way or another. It's not, and no one is ever going to look at something you said or communicated to them and go, I wonder what you meant. Have you ever asked someone that? What do you mean by that? You know why you ask that? You're trying to get them to admit the way you already know they meant it by. Anyone ever said that to you? Your answer back is, you know what I meant. And yes, we do. No, what? It wasn't the right verse. Proverbs, that's what we're trying to figure out. I know, I think I was right. Proverbs 18:21, I think, is the right one. And that's also the Message version. Colossians 4:6. Are you going to make t-shirts? Good. I like that. You choose. I like this. Let every word you speak. This is my favorite one. Favorite one. Y'all need to write this down. And y'all can put in your footnotes. Pastor Sean's favorite verse, and this is why it's important. Let every word you speak be drenched with grace and tempered with truth and clarity. Drenched with grace. What is grace? Something you don't deserve. So now, instead of giving people what they deserve in your communication, you give them what you've been given undeservingly back. And you don't give them what they deserve. You don't answer in kind. You don't in like kind. You answer drenched in grace. You communicate drenched in grace. But what if the situation requires me to let someone have it? You might want to hang back just a moment and drench it in grace, and then let them have it. If you can't get from step 2 to step 3, just hang out in step 2. Because that's how weighty they actually are. You need to make sure that you're conveying grace, tempered with truth. I mean, how many of y'all think that you should just communicate truth and truth and truth? I did a sermon one time about grace and truth. Everything has to be both, right? And we had said equal. This verse doesn't necessarily say that about your words. You drench it in grace and you temper it with truth. You ever had somebody tell you the truth? You ever? Yes. Don't. If you've got to tell them you're telling them in love, you ain't, right? Right? So I'm going to tell you the truth. You just tell me the truth then. I can't wait to hear the truth from you. You're a genius. I woke up this morning going, I can't wait to get some truth from them. You've never encountered anybody waiting for you to deliver truth to them. Nobody. Nobody's going to walk up and high-five you and go, did you bring me some truth? Not going to happen. Not going to happen. They may be out looking for you to deliver some truth. They're not waiting for it. Temper it with truth. Drench it. Drench it in grace. Wow, that's crazy. There's going to be a time, especially with the ones you love the most, that you're going to have conversations that you're like, man, this is just something you did or something I did, and you're going to have to do those conversations. I'm not saying everything becomes, kumbaya. But you should at least be able to answer the question, why'd you say that? And the answer be, because I love you. I mean, literally. To God. Because I love you. Find a way. If you can. God's giving you these words that we can build people up, not tear them back down. Tear them back down. Back to the wolves. There's these two guys that lived. They wrote a book called The Wisdom of Wolves. They moved in with a pack of wolves for 6 years. Moved in and documented every single day for 6 years the communication habits of wolves. They have personal issues with humans. I get that. But we're going to benefit a little bit from what they've seen. You ever notice that wolves howl right before they go out on a hunt? You know why? It's not for the benefit of those who they're hunting. They're not announcing to the deer, run! We're coming! Right? The howl goes up to 10 miles. A 10-mile howl. That means, do you know how far away they're hunting? 10.1 miles, just for the mathematicians in here. Because if the howl goes 10, ain't nothing around within 10 miles if you're scared of wolves. So what do they do it for? They get the pack amped up. They get them encouraged. They're like, you know what we're born for? That hunt. Let's get ready. Let's get charged up. Let me encourage you while you're encouraging me, and then let's encourage them together, and let's get everybody going, right? And they do that. What if you started to think, before you let out your house, is the person I'm delivering this to going to feel encouraged about this life that God has called them into? Are they going to feel like, yes, I'm so glad you're in this with me. I'm so glad to have you alongside me. I'm so glad to call you friend. I'm so glad to call you whatever. It's just so glad. Based on the communication that you're giving. Are they going to look at it and go, I'll go anywhere and fight anything with you and for you? Is that what they're getting? Now, I've lost many of you right now, I know. Because you're like, I can't. This is nope. And you're saying things like, I can't ever do this. There's just too many stupid people around me. Or you're saying, you don't know my boss. You might be saying dumber things than that, like you don't know my somebody. Don't say that. Your drivers. What? I don't get this. Oh, yeah, you don't know who I drive next to or what traffic I sit in. Yeah, you could be saying things like that. Don't do that. Don't discount it. Listen, if you're going to discount it, just go, another day. Let's worry about that some other time. But don't come whining about how life is getting you down because you can't declare war on the words and the communication that you're pushing out. Don't tell me how bad things are around you. And you can't even declare war on your communication skills. Don't do that. So it affects people. It affects your future. Words literally speak to the future. You just proved it. Not only do you remember the person that said something to you that you keep going back to that keeps irritating you or whatever, the time between then and now has been affected by that. Those words affected your future. Just like every word you said back then affected someone's future. Why is it that when I say that, you start thinking about all the negative things you've said to someone? Why didn't you immediately go to positive things you've said to someone and think about all the positive influence you've had on someone's life based on what you said? Because you've never declared war before. Negative communication is natural. Speaking bad to or about or with someone, very natural. You just let it flow. Most of us, if you just open your mouth, it'll just come on out. And everybody around you go, wow, don't really want to talk to them much more. That's the majority of time. But if you're a declaring war kind of person and you're checking before you open it up, or before you type it, or before you even sigh, or before you even look, if you're checking in and you're deciding that it's weighty and it's a gift, that changes. And futures get impacted in a positive way. People get impacted in a positive way. Last but not least, the words affect you. The things you say in your mind, the thoughts you have, the things you say to yourself before you even say them, affect you. You become a changed person. Here's how I know this. So if I'm having a conversation in my head, anybody have those? Okay. As long as you don't verbally admit that, like to the person that you're talking to in your head, medication's probably not going to come your way. You just have it. You just have it. But here's how I'm hearing it. Okay, I'm hearing this from the outside. All right. So this whole week, my youngest son keeps saying, "Why are you so grumpy? Why you laugh at that? I'm not grumpy." That's what I tell him. I'm not grumpy. I'm having a really good day. I've only been up 30 minutes. Right? Or, what is that for? And I'd be like, what? That look. I don't know what you're talking about. And after about 3 days, I literally started going, what the heck am I communicating? Right? And then I started thinking, I'm talking to myself. And as I'm talking to myself, I'm just wearing it. She has this thing, or we have this thing. She'd be like, what's wrong? Right? Anybody else has got a spouse that's psychic? Well, you can't have mine. Get one. What's wrong? And then don't ever answer that question with nothing. Because then you get the, so you think I'm stupid. I didn't do anything. I promise. I wasn't thinking anything. Don't ever say that. Well, you should have been. So I started thinking, what are you saying to yourself? And then my therapist helped me figure out what I was saying to myself. And what I was saying to myself was some pretty stupid things. And I'm wearing them on the outside. But they're affecting me, primarily. You see, we started last week and we said, you are your worst enemy. The things you think about are the things you say, the way you communicate, even in your head, you are your worst enemy. It all starts and ends with you. Yes, you can affect people, and yes, you can affect the future, but you're affecting you first. And what's more important? You. You've been taught that everybody else is more important than you, but you can't do anything for anybody else if you keep ruining you. You can't help. Have you ever heard, put your own oxygen mask on first? Right? Dead people don't help people. You've got to help yourself first. You've got to take care of what's inside of you and the way you're communicating as it pertains to you first. And then it will come out of you in a better way. It will come out as a gift. It will come out as you believe it's weighty. It will come out as in encouraging. You ready to be challenged? I'm ready to go. All right. Okay, if you're not ready to be challenged, I got to keep preaching until you get ready to be challenged. Only 3 of you have looked at your watch. All right. Because I don't believe, especially like we did last week and the weeks before, I don't believe just coming in here and hearing about it. I believe if you're going to do something about it, you've got to actually make it something. And I've thought about the best way to challenge you, and I thought about making it an easy challenge. And then I said, nah, y'all are geniuses. Y'all are ready to do this thing. So here's your challenge. We're going 6 days. 6 days. Without talking. Some people will have to choose that option. 6 days and 0 negative communication. 0. Why are you clapping? Is it for the person that I just gave the challenge to that's next to you? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I get that. So here's some things you cannot say. Where are you going? At least it was a positive. Here's some things you cannot say. I quit. No. Obviously, you can say that because she's always right. You can't say, "Now I'm not being negative." If you say that, you're already being negative. You're just trying to get me to believe that you're spiritual, right? I've been thinking about it, and this is not negative, but, right? Can't say that. Don't say that phrase, all right? You can't say, "I just failed," right? "I'm done for the rest of the week. I'll just go back to being negative," right? Understand, you are going to fail. How's that for positive thinking? You're going to fail. You're going to fail. Because, unless you just shut up and just pour yourself into the Bible 24/7, the enemy is going to try to get in. He's going to launch some offensives. Okay? That's just, I promise you can put money down on that one. Declare war, though, and say, "I'm not going to do it." And when I do it, I'm going to understand that's grace, and I'm going to back up, and I'm going to start over. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I got it. I see an area in my life where I'm really easy. Some of you are probably going to just have to not open Facebook all week. I get that. Because some of you are going to read it, and you're going like, Nope, that's a failure. Sorry, that's a failure. God's going to be like, "Why did you say that?" And you're going to be like, So just turn it off if you have to, and just take some things you just need to take out. Now, the other thing, lastly, if you're like right now going, "Holy crap, the people that I'm with, there's just no way." Change the people you're with. Does that not make sense? If you actually believe, and I told you it's not going to be easy. I told you this starting off. That some of you are going to change your friends, and then also don't get all miffed off when nobody wants to hang out with you this week. Use that as an indicator. Show them you're worth hanging around. Kind of funny, but think about it. If all of a sudden somebody you've been with is trying to do this challenge and now they won't talk to you, think about what you used to do. Every time you walked and got together, are you the one going, "Oh my, you can't just, this is just so stupid. You can't, let me tell you what she did yesterday. Let me do it." Think about those. 6 days. 6 days. I hope it becomes a habit, that's kind of the point, but 6 days. I was going to give you 2 days. Wouldn't that have been nicer? I can shut up for 2 days. You understand Jesus is talking about an entire life? We're talking about 6 days. And I'm scared to death. I am. Since that, this was like me on Thursday. I had to get quiet. I did that. I'm just like, I'm just going to talk. That's when my son comes back and goes, what is wrong with you? Why are you doing? I'm like, crap, I'm still communicating. I'll give you some tools Wednesday. We get halfway through this. But you can do. But if you want to think about, go back to Wednesday night, or go look up Wednesday night sermon. The things we talked about Wednesday night are the only way you're going to accomplish this. You're not just going to stop being negative. Clayton, what are you going to do? You got to do something else. You got to replace it with something else. You got to replace it with something else. I'm going to leave it to you until Wednesday to figure out what you can replace it with, because you're going to compete. You're going to continue to communicate. You are. You just can't do it negatively. Good luck. Let's all stand and go. Wednesday night we are back in the retreat center, 5:30, meal together, and then Bible study at 6:15. Don't want to miss it. Don't want to miss it. It's a great time to come be not negative. So, at least one time this week, I'm giving you some opportunity. Other stuff going on. If you didn't read, if you went to concealed carry class, your certificates are in the sound booth. You'll just go see Wes immediately this is over. If you've agreed to do Tenebrae, the Good Friday service we do here at night, Wes needs to see you right as soon as we're out of here. Just go back to the sound booth as well. I know sound booth's going to get kind of crowded back there for stuff going on. Also, some people ask about directory. If you're not in our directory, come on, don't be silly. Get your picture taken. You're not getting any prettier, all right? That's not negative. Pictures say 1,000 words, right? So, tell Wes to take your picture so we can get you in the directory. Look, he's just like, come on.
Wes needs his picture.
And Wes, no, I looked. Y'all are in the directory. It's an ugly picture.
It's from way on back.
You gave it. So maybe Jess can be back there and help take pictures too. So Wes will need some help with pictures because Mally's gone. So if you haven't had your picture for the directory, you need to do that. March is coming. March is going to be an awesome time around here. It always is. Float's getting ready to get kicking off. Water is being collected. So if you see water on sale, we got to have 8,000 bottles. So if you see water on sale and you want to buy it, go ahead. Don't pay more than 10 cents a bottle. If you can get it for 10 cents a bottle, go ahead and get it. If not, just give me some money, and we can buy it for 10 cents a bottle through our food banks and stuff. So if you'd like to give to the cause, we'll go buy it. But if you're out and you see it for sale, grab it. 8,000 is 5 skids, in case you're wondering. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. But we're going to give it away on the parade. So come be a part of that. Spring break kids are coming. Lots of stuff. Just getting ready to happen. It's going to be an awesome time. Let's pray together, and we'll go and we'll see you on Wednesday. Paul Wilson, would you pray for us?